Hey, Bill.
Hi guys. Cut. Hey. Big guy. Big guy. Come on. Ken. Ken, come on. Come on. What are you doing? Hey. Where are you going? Come on now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Gotta hit you. Yeah. You do well. Hey. Hi, Skip. Hey. Wait. Okay.
Hey. Huh? Hey. Hey. Well, good Monday morning to everybody. This is October 7th. Kind of a cloudy day, but a nice day. And we have yet to have a frost. So because of that, our leaves have not turned too much. They're starting to get yellow here. These are in the maples. And at some years, they will get bright red. Kind of depends on the year. This year being that we have not had a frost yet, I'm thinking that they're not going to get that red, but more of a yellow, and that's fine. But anyways, yeah, we are up here with Ken and Earl. About a week or so ago, I put shoes on Ken and started working him a little bit in the woods. He's only been doing half days. The reason that I'm doing that is because where I'm logging, it's fairly hard coming up the hill with the wagon load, and with the young Suffolks that I have, I don't want to push it too much to them, but I also don't want Bill to have the brunt of the work. So I decided I'm going to bring Ken back in so Bill can have the afternoons or the mornings off while Ken does his share of work also. So that's what I've been doing. I'm curious if any of you guys have noticed the difference in Earl. I'm not going to say anything, but if you guys noticed anything different about him, let me know in the comments. So one thing I wanted to talk about, besides showing Ken being back to work, is Skippy, our dog. I want to talk a little bit about him, and I don't even know where he's at yet. He is running about somewhere. I'll holler to him a little bit. And usually he actually rides with me on the way in, but I usually make him run the first little bit so he can get some energy, get rid of some energy. And but I want to explain a few things about what I'm doing with Skippy. The title kind of makes it sound like I'm training my dog, and I am, but oh my goodness, I don't know anything about dog training, nor am I very good at it. But I must say he is coming along pretty well. I think I've mentioned this in other videos that he is really Brenda's dog. I actually got him hoping he might be a logging dog, but then for a long time I was really questioning it because he just took to Brenda so well, and we surely don't want him to not be Brenda's dog, but we do want him to be able to come to the woods and do some things with me. Here he comes right now, running down the trail. And all right. Stop. So anyhow, Brenda had gone on a short vacation with the girls here recently, so I had 3 or 4 days to spend with Skip, and I was making some progress. He really wasn't liking me too well as far as wanting to be with me. I would go to the horse barn, and when I first got him, I took him out with me, and then he got stepped on a couple times. He had a few issues with the horses, and he really didn't want to go out to the barn with me. He went out with Brenda, but he didn't want to go out with me. So while she was gone, I worked on that, and I got him to come out to the barn much better. And I did a little bit of training, just on basic training stuff. And he's just doing so much better with me. We've brought him to the woods quite a bit lately. This morning Brenda asked if she should come and film, and I said no, I think it'd be better if you did not, because I wanted to show a few things about how Skippy's doing. And with you along, it's harder to get him to mind me because you're where he would rather be with, you know. So so as you can see, he's taken to riding. He really likes to ride, not only in the truck and car, but on my vehicles besides. So he, as you saw, ran right over and jumped right onto the cart, and he'll spend a lot of time riding his cart. When I'm skidding logs and when I'm even coming home with a full load on the wagon, I don't have him ride. He can walk. But when I'm going in empty, it's just a good time for him to be with me and to be patient and just ride. When we first got him, we were very much questioning whether he'd even be able to jump into a truck, and that was such a joke. He just flies into the truck along with climbing all kinds of things. He loves to be on top of the hill or on top of the mountain, wherever that might be. So anyways, he's doing great. By all means, if you've got some ideas as to how I could even get him to do better, let me know. I'll talk a little bit more about it maybe later on this video. Yeah, I'm just trying to explain some of the things I have done with him. Oh! I have a tree across the road. I was up here Saturday. This is Monday morning. And last night we had quite a storm. And must be it knocked this tree down. So I'll have to get this out of the way before we can move on. Okay, tree's out of the way. Skip's off on another adventure. He'll catch up to us, I'm sure. Careful step. One thing I wanted to... Oh. I see, I forgot one piece. Back up, guys. Back up. Careful step. So one thing I wanted to explain about Skip and what I did do, this is a while ago now, and he, like so many dogs, was started to chase the horses. And I might have explained this in one other video one other time, but we were going along, I think I was spreading manure right there in my barnyard or in the yard, and I don't know if it might have been Ken even that was pulling the manure spreader, because I know it was on the off horse. And oh, come Skip, come over here, other side. Okay, jump on, come in. All right, cuffs up. But anyways, I remember he was getting after the horse's hind feet like blue heelers do, and Skip is a part skipper key, part blue heeler. And so I knew we'd have some issues with him with that. Well, when he went after my off horse, if whoever it might have been, I can't remember now, I happened to have a whip close by, just like I have a little whip right here, and I took it out, and without saying a word, I put that whip onto Skip's back pretty hard, but I didn't say a word, and he stayed away from them horses for the longest time, and I don't know if he's ever, or hardly ever, chased and nipped at their feet ever since then. And by doing what I did and not saying a word, my plan or my idea was to have him relate that to the horses, not to me. So in other words, somehow the horses caused him pain without even kicking him, and so he knew enough to stay away. So that really worked well. He did get stepped on a couple times, and of course that slowed him down from going into the stalls quite so much, but he still does some. But yes, he is getting a lot better. And I'm sure there's other things I can do if I was more of a dog trader to even solve those problems, but I must say he's doing really well. And yeah, that's great. So as we head into the woods here, let's forget about talking about dogs for right now. This is a horse channel, so let's talk about horses. So as we're heading into the woods with Earl and with Ken, with my wagon in tow, as you can see by the evener, Earl is just naturally quite a bit ahead of Ken. This has always been a pet peeve of mine. I hate to have a horse ahead of the other horse. So what I would generally do is drive way on Ken's side to put more pressure on Earl to keep them walking a little bit better. But there's always the question, do you want the fast horse to slow down, or do you want the slow horse to speed up? I generally always want the slow horse to speed up. So because of that, I will do something like take my line, kind of lightly tap him to speed him up a little bit. You have to be careful doing that, because every time you move that line, the other horse feels it on his bit, and there's a little bit of a, it can make him jump ahead even and go faster than he's supposed to do. You need to know what the horse's pace are generally and deal with that to try and keep them both together. And right now I'm just driving one-handed, and I've got Skip on here and talking to you guys, so I'm really not too concerned or even trying to keep the two together. I'm just going to let them go as is. But generally I do try to keep them walking so that evener is even. It's interesting with these Suffolk horses, because one of my biggest concerns when I bought Suffolks was all the Suffolks I've ever seen seem to be very slow and really easygoing, but really slow and docile, and that to me is not exactly the type of horse I would like, although there are some jobs that slow horse is so much better than a fast horse. But generally I like a fast horse. I think that, I'm curious what you guys think, I think that horses tend to be somewhat like their owners, their trainers, their master. I tend to be a fast kind of person, I'm not your slow, easygoing person. I tend to be pretty fast. So my horses, I think and feel, they tend to be fast because I kind of instill it in them to be that way. Now, that does not always work out that way. Ken, I've had him for at least 15 years, and he's the same slow deadhead that he's always been. If you get after him a little bit, he'll speed up, but his general speed is just slow. And even though I tend to not be that way, it doesn't matter with him. I can't seem to get in his head that I want him to go fast 99% of the time. And that's okay. Over the years, I've used that to my advantage. I've worked him with another horse that would slow down to his pace to get a certain job done, and that's been good. But generally speaking, if you're, I'm not even sure if this is true, but it seems true. But if you're really slow, easygoing person, your horses tend to be slow, easygoing horses. If you are a fast person, your horses tend to be faster. And so anyways, with my Suffolks, even though all the Suffolks I've always seen, in my mind, seem to be kind of slow, Earl and Baron are not. As you can see, he's continually being way ahead of Ken, and he always is, except when you get a big load behind Ken, he's a good puller, so he tends to just outpower Earl because there's 300 pounds difference in weight. So obviously he's going to be a stronger horse. So anyways, that's my story, my thoughts on horse speeds, and I'm curious what you guys think. If you feel there's truth to that, or if you think that's just a bunch of hogwash. Tell me what you think in the comments. All right, Skip, come here. So, one thing Skip has done one time, which concerns me, is he was up here, and I have been, since I started, been tying him when I get to the log job, so he stays here, and he's been very good about being tied. He's great about being tied, doesn't generally bark or nothing. So I tie him there for a little while. When I start loading the wagon up, I'll tie him elsewhere. But anyways, it is hunting season, and not that he looks at all like a deer, but I have told the hunters, I have people up here that lease this land for hunting rights, and they all know I have this dog, and I told them, you know, don't shoot him type of thing. But he generally stays close to me. But one time he was up here and he took off and ran all the way home. So ever since then I've been tying him, not the whole time. I usually tie him for a little while, although the last time I was up here I didn't tie him at all, and he stayed right with me the whole time. I thought he was gone. I'd gone down into get a hitch. I came back and I thought for sure he was gone, and he was sitting right over here at the log pile, which I was so pleased. So, but this morning I'm going to hitch him there at least for a couple more hitches, and then we're not going to be here very long anyways, and we'll be loaded up and we'll be gone. Oh. Oh. No. No. Oh. Oh. So we are loaded with all we want. Of course, Skip has to be on top of the pile. And so these are two big 16-foot logs. And one of them's 235 board feet and this other one's 280 board feet. Just that by itself is really about all I want to haul up this hill, especially with Earl being a young horse. Also, another issue we're having today is the fact that, as you can see, we got rain last night, so it's wet and it's just the soil is slimy enough. Without good pulling shoes on, they're going to do some slipping going up the hill. So what I would have done if I'd remembered my strap, which I forgot, but I would have just gone up with just the two big logs. But since I didn't have my strap, I got to hitch this on in a different way. So I decided to throw on these two smaller logs here just to help, so they won't, if I just had, the way I'm going to hitch it, the logs would have a chance of, the big ones would be rolling across the bunks here. So having these extra logs in here, the stakes and here will hold it from rolling too far. So I'm going to show you what I do when I forget my strap and or my binder, chain binder. I've shown this before, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have done this even yourself. So I put a chain around here and connect it so it's somewhat loose like this. I set my camera up. Hopefully Skip will leave it alone. Go away. Get. So, leave it alone, Skip. Hey, leave it alone. Why don't you jump down? Come on. So I put my chain there around here, and then I take a stick, this is about 4 foot long, and I take this stick and put it through it in such a way that I can actually wrap it around in such a way so it snugs it up. It's not extremely tight, but it took a lot of the, a lot of the looseness out of it. And then I will take my other end of my chain, and at the further end of the stick, I will just wrap it around so that it stays tight on the way up the hill. It's not a perfect way of doing it, or at least it's nowhere near as good as the ratchet strap is, or a chain binder, but it does work in a bind. Get it? In a bind. It's bound up. Anyways, let's head this load up the hill and see if we can't make it to the top. Hopefully we can, because what happens sometimes when you get slippery ground like this, if a horse slips and goes down on their, generally it's their front end, that's the issue, and goes down on their front knees, a lot of times they'll stop. It's hard for a horse to slip, go down on their knees, and come up pulling again, which in this situation they have to. So I will be ready for that and try to coax them up the hill and hold them a tight line, because they're less apt to trip and go down if you have a really tight line on them. If you drive with really loose lines, which I generally never do, they're more apt to actually slip in a situation like this and fall on their knees. So let's see what we can do. I passed out. I have gone up this hill with 700 feet with Earl without a problem, so I don't expect problems. It rolls pretty easy, nice, but I gotta make sure they don't slip and go down on the knees. So far so good. Careful, guys. Careful. Oh, good boys. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today. The horses have had a pretty easy morning just to get these few logs, but I have some lumber orders for some 1x12s, so that's one reason why I'm cutting these 16 footers. I'm going to make some 1x12s. But I have other stuff to do this morning, and maybe this afternoon I'll come back up with Bill and Baron. I'm not sure. I have started plowing, and it was really too dry to plow very good, so I didn't show any of that, but hopefully we can get to plowing and I'll show you some of that. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. You go home, Skip. You go home.